everyone, it's Silvia. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I don't know why I did this to myself, but as you can see, I've got all the tarot decks that I've got in a bag. I've got them here because about a year and a half ago, I posted a video in which I was reorganizing my entire collection. And I was asking for advice because I do have some constraints when it comes to space. And there's also I do have a lot of tarot bags as well. And I don't have a great memory when it comes to associations between the tarot bags and the tarot that it's inside. And so I was asking for advice to you on how to best organize or reorganize my collection. And I got some really interesting comments. Thank you to everyone that took the time to think about it and to let me know what your ideas are. It is amazing to me that literally hundreds of you just, came through for me in giving me advice. And so I actually took the advice. I'm so sorry, but I do not remember your name, but and it was more than one person recommending to divide them between tarot and oracle decks. That was kind of a given, but it's not always that easy because sometimes I just use tarot and oracle together. And so my idea was maybe dividing them by season. But in the end, it is the best. Oracle decks on one side, tarot decks on the other side. By the way, this is going to be not necessarily a long video. I don't think it's going to be a long video, but it's going to be a long and massive effort for me, so I've got a coffee here because otherwise I'm just gonna fall asleep. And also it's full of sugar. So as I was saying, tarot, oracle divided, and divided, Lenormand, playing cards and everything divided. And then I also divided, so I put all of the same authors together, so all of my MJ Collinane's decks together. All of them together by Chris Ann, what's her name? I always call her Chris Ann Donnelly? Sorry, Chris Ann, I'm sorry. The Light Seers Tarot, she's the author of the Light Seers Tarot. I call her Chris Ann. Chris Ann's deck, all together, and so on and so forth. There's also different versions, so when it comes to indie decks and mass market decks, this year, I actually decided to put the indie deck together with the mass market decks, simply because there are so many mass market decks that have been published as indie decks first, and so I have both the editions, and so I'm actually putting them together. But then, when it comes to tarot bags, as I said, I don't have the part of a brain that should remind me of the association between the tarot bag and the tarot that's inside is just not there in my brain. And I know that it sounds terrible, but you see all these bags, these are just tarot decks. I have just as many decks in a bag for oracle decks. So for now, I'm just going to do the tarot ones. So two persons a couple of years ago recommended to buy these ones. Let me just take one out of the small plastic bag here and show you. These are literally just tags, I would call them. They're not even, this really small label, let's call them tags. And they have a string, and it's going to be a pain to detach all of them. But anyway, let me just show you like this. Can you see? Okay, so it's a really small tag or label. With a string, and so I'm literally going to write just one keyword that is going to remind me of what deck it's inside. That's also going to be a monumental effort, but I think I can do this. I think I can do this because honestly, my handwriting is huge. It's big. My husband's handwriting is tiny. I don't know how I can read it, but mine is huge, and it's probably because I always write with a fountain pen, and you kind of need to make the letters bigger to allow for the ink to be absorbed and not, overlap. Anyway, so there's only going to be room for one keyword, maybe two. So I will decide, that's going to be fun. That's going to be really fun. So I'm going to decide how to name my decks with 1 or 2 words in order to be able to remind myself of what's inside. And then I'm going to stick this label. I'm going to tie to the bag. Somehow I will find a way to do that. So this is supposed to make it easier to find the decks, because as of today, honestly, apart from a couple of exceptions, I honestly have no idea what's in here. I don't know. And the origin of this video was, I was going to film, and I actually started filming a VR to Simon from the Hermit's Cave, and he's literally done, in his entire collection, he went through all of the decks that he's got, which is a lot more than me, and he's decided which ones are his most beautiful, what for him are the most beautiful decks, right? So I'm gonna do the same, but not today. Today we're going to, because there might be a deck that I really do consider one of my most beautiful decks, that it's inside a bag and I don't remember. Yes, it's that bad. Anyway, so stay tuned, let's have a look, and let's see. Okay, I got 40 decks. Oh god, I'm gonna cry. No, I can do this. It's just that yeah. I'm tired already. Let's do this. Okay. Roll up my sleeves. Let's go. Okay. So ideally I don't want to use any organza bag. Let me just zoom in to the decks. And also, sorry about that, I'm just gonna close the blinds 1 second. Okay, so this is the Llewellyn Tarot. So this is gonna be easy. I'm just gonna write Llewellyn. But ideally, as I said, I am not too happy about organza bags. I know that it makes it easier to see them because they're transparent, but it's not the best quality, and it kind of defeats the purpose of a bag because they're not aesthetically pleasing, and honestly I'm not even sure that it protects the decks from humidity, you know, all that sort of really bad stuff. So I don't know what I'm gonna do, because I do have other bags. I have other bags. You know what, I'm gonna use another bag. I don't have many organza bags still, so it's probably 4 or 5. I do have other bags. Okay, let's choose another bag. Okay, I have these other bags, but I know that they are reserved for different decks. For example, these 3 are from the Tarot Bag Ladies, based in Australia, by the way, but they do ship internationally. This one is with all the perfumes and stuff. It's more for my alchemist oracle, so because of all the potions and stuff. So, or even my kitchen witch oracle, but in any case this is not gonna be okay for the Llewellyn. This one is for the Desert Illuminations Tarot. I have 2 versions, the indie one and the mass market one, so it's already taken. And this one is for my what's it called, the Yuletide tarot, so very Christmassy, very beautiful, sorry. And I'd say this one was from the Habitrot Tarot or the Tamara, I can't recall. I think the Habitrot. I really like the Tiger, and I might use it for a different deck. If I ever buy the Tiger Tarot, I might use it for that one. This one is from Los Carabeo, obviously with the Temperance card. I can use it for a larger deck. And it comes with these ones that I received for free when I did some purchase overseas in tarot shops. And so I'm probably going to use these ones for all of the organza bags that I want to replace. I'm going to use these ones. It's really nice velvet, very nice to the touch. And yeah, so this one, I would say this maroon color is the one that inspires me the most when it comes to the Llewellyn Tarot. So I'm going to use that one. And so what I'm gonna do, basically, I'm gonna grab one of these tags and I'm going to write Llewellyn. First though, I have to release them because they're all tied up. Okay, so I'm just gonna write Llewellyn here. Let's see. I probably should remove these ones because otherwise I cannot write. And let's go. Okay, Llewellyn Tarot. So I'm going to transfer the Llewellyn Tarot into the bag. By the way, the Llewellyn Tarot, if you haven't seen it, really gorgeous. But this one is kind of special because I removed the borders except for the bottom one that I kept because of the, the titles of the cards. But then I did, and every year I kind of have to redo it because it kind of fades, but I don't know if you can see the edging that I've done. It's a complex edging because it's 3 different colors, yellow, orange and copper. And then I used a glossy sparkling copper on the edges, so they look a little bit darker. So there is this sense of having the yellow here and darker edges. I really like it. I like the way I've done it, and it's an excellent deck. I like it. I mean, it's a classic for me. I know it's not necessarily classic. It's a chaotic based RWS clone, but I really like the colors. And ironically, I like it so much more now that it's trimmed down to the artwork on 3 sides, because I strongly believe that the original one that had large borders like this color just was taking something away from the beautiful colors that were on the artwork. So if you have this deck and you haven't trimmed it yet, I would like to hear your opinion. Looking at this and what I've done here, I know that there's a lot of people that have trimmed this deck. It felt like it was the obvious thing to do, right? I mean, look at this 2 of Pentacles. Isn't it just absolutely gorgeous? I really love the colors. And okay, so without much further ado, let's see. It should fit because obviously it is smaller than the bag. So there you go. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to tie this tag to one of the strings. And then I'm going to remind myself to store them back on the shelf in such a way that it is visible, because otherwise if the string is visible, then it kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it? And here we go. Okay, so I did this way, so it's still fairly attached, and you know, it does kind of fall down to the bottom of the bag, but it kind of, you know, that's the purpose. I want to be able to read the tag without having to take out the deck from the shelf, and obviously if it's the deck that I'm looking for, then I will. Okay, this is taking longer than I expected, and it's kind of making me think that doing 40 decks in a video is gonna be crazy. So I'm probably gonna skip ahead and show you a few of these decks and the bags because they're really beautiful, and then I'm gonna jump to the end of all of this massive effort and show you how it looks like on the shelves. How about that? This is a bit of a different bag than I bought it in Thailand. It was this, I went to the north of Thailand, north of Chiang Mai, and we went to the place where the women with the really long necks are. They have really long necks because by tradition they wear a lot of rings, really heavy rings. I tried wearing them myself, they're so heavy. And they're making these, and I found it really nice. So as tarot bags are just perfect. And this is my very first tarot deck of all time, the very first one. And it was a present from back then, my boyfriend. And in Italy back then there was still this idea that you couldn't really buy your first deck, it had to be a present. I mean, so Obviously, if you don't have a deck, you never bought a deck, just buy it. It's not going to bring you bad luck. But it was, you know, back then it was kind of an important thing. And I also I wanted a present. I wanted him to buy a deck for me. And this is the very first one that I bought. And the reason why I bought this one is because it is very different. It's got a very different system from the RWS. Very different. So the major arcanas follow the RWS, sort of, but not entirely. But when it comes to the minors, you would read it as playing cards, as you would read a deck of playing cards, which is something that actually was very easy for me back then. I did not know tarot. I had started reading playing cards and reading cowrie shells and throwing bones and coins and charm casting with my auntie when I was 8 years old. But then a couple of years later, I was reading playing cards, and then I thought, if I want to start with tarot, I need something that is in between, and this is really a deck that is in between. It's the Tarot Condovino, the Diviner's deck. It is still on sale. Dal Negro, though, I think that they closed down. I'm not entirely sure, so maybe it's not on sale, but I did see it on Amazon Italy at least. And these have been created or illustrated by Sergio Ruffolo, which is an amazing illustrator. And look at the backs. I just really love the backs, because you've got the zodiac signs here, and I think they're very whimsical. All of the cards are very whimsical. This deck, as you can see, is being used and abused so many times, because yeah, we're talking about 38 years ago, 38 years that I have this deck, that I've got this deck, and I've been using it. Not in a while though. In the last 20 years I've probably moved on to different decks. However, I want to keep it, and I don't even know where the box is. It was plastic, very heavy. So I put it in this bag, which is very nice, and let's move on. This is taking so long, but that's okay. Let me just show you quickly this one. This deck is so beautiful. It's I think it's called the Landscape Tarot. Is it? No, I don't remember. I am so sorry. This has been printed out of Make Playing Cards, and I just really love the photos here. And of course, I mean, come on, the Northern Lights for the Magician. It's spot on. It's incredible. I love this deck so much. I think that it's been done with an incredible amount of knowledge of tarot, and but also these are objectively beautiful photos. And may I just say, and look at the Ten of Swords, may I just say, not just beautiful, but this is probably one of the last decks in which, you know, you can see actual photos. This is Bryce Canyon, one of my favorite places on the planet. But also, and this is Antelope Canyon. Amazing. Scratch that. Bryce and Antelope Canyon are two of my favorite places on earth. Look at this. How amazing is this? But also, of course, let's face it, I love all of these photos. I mean, look at this photo. Isn't it just amazing? I think that nowadays it's difficult to find photos that don't make us doubt that they're real, you know what I mean? Because there's so many AI tools out there that don't necessarily steal artworks, but they do kind of work on your photo for whatever correction that AI thinks that a photo needs, and then the results are fake. And you know, the other day I was going through an electronics store because I was looking for a microphone. And I always take a pic of TVs because I love TVs, and I always check out the new ones. This is Machu Picchu, amazing. And I checked out the new ones, and there's a few AI TVs, and they look fake. The images because they claim they have been corrected by AI. They look fake, completely fake. Yeah. So honestly, I don't know where we're going. I don't know where we're headed. But in any case, really, really beautiful deck from Make Playing Cards. So in a very beautiful bag, as you can see. Love this. And these are the bags, by the way. Gorgeous. And then there's also bags that are kind of obvious. I mean, everyone will recognize this one. If you know, you know. This is by Gabby Angus West. And this is the Bonfire Tarot. That's the indie edition that I was very lucky to find for a very reasonable price. I always wanted this deck, and I always wanted the original, what's it called? Sarah Howard, anyway. The Word of Sarah Howard Oracle. I found it as well. Again, very reasonable price. I am so very grateful to the people that sell decks for not an incredible amount of money. Because they're the ones that allow me to have an amazing collection. So that's why, you know, every now and then when there's a significant milestone, I post a giveaway, because I believe in giving back. But this deck is just so beautiful. I really, really love it. It's probably one of my favorite decks. I have a very dear friend of mine to thank for this deck, in the sense that she's the one that signaled it to me, and she was like, oh, the author actually lives in New South Wales, which is where I live. New South Wales is a state in Australia where Sydney is. She lives about 600 kilometers north from where I live, and many of her decks have that imprint. You can really feel the vibes of the place, the location where she lives. She lives nearby to some really beautiful lakes, and so you can really tell, especially in the Word of Sarah Howard, the spirit of the lakes is pretty much there. You can definitely feel it. But this deck is such an amazing deck. The colors, they're so saturated. I mean, look at the death card. You know, it's just really amazing. I mean, you can get, you know, you can produce a really powerful deck, a very strong deck, a very impressive deck with fantastic artwork. But it's not easy to get and tick all the boxes. At least, you know, what represent all the boxes for me. This is a very strong deck. It's a very strong reader. It's very direct. You can see this from many of these cards. I like the Five of Cups, for example. But at the same time, it's also incredibly beautiful. I mean, look at this Judgment card. This is so very powerful. Not the art style, but in a way, it reminds me of Poppy Palin's deck, the Everyday Enchantment deck. Because it does have very similar kind of vibes, not the art style, but the vibes, and it just communicates to you, these characters communicate to you their vitality, and you feel like you're pretty much invited to share with their sentiments and their feelings. So really love this deck. So very lucky that I've got the indie deck. I also have the mass market deck, the original mass market deck, not the latest one, which I believe I don't have the latest one, so I couldn't really say anything. But I believe that these kind of colors deserve a glossy cardstock, and the first edition mass market is glossy. The second one, or the re-edition, let's say, is actually, I believe, if I'm not wrong, that it's linen. And I'm not entirely sure, but they've done something on the size of the cards as well, and as a consequence of that, it feels like it's not entirely the same images, not the same color, and so on and so forth. And so there's a number of reasons why I would say I definitely prefer the I prefer the indie, but when it comes to the mass market decks, I definitely prefer the first edition. But again, I don't have the linen edition, so maybe I'm wrong. I mean, maybe it's very nice, and I don't know. Anyway, really beautiful deck. Let's go on with this task that is going to take me probably days. Okay, this one is, if I remember correctly, it should be the Malon. Is it? Oh, yes, it is. So I'm very, very happy with this deck. Really beautiful. Reads like a charm. I believe this one is the one that has been printed by Make Plain Cards because it's not linen. There might be another company printing out this deck. It is a very, very gentle deck, very kind, very beautiful. Absolutely adore it. It reads really well. It's got one of my favorite tarot cards of all time, and I don't often say this. I pay attention to a lot of cards, but the Chariot one is not necessarily one that will look appealing to me. I just understand it, you know. But this one is just amazing, and to me, it's just it reminds me of one of my favorite books. Sorry, I don't want to mix them up because there's cards with the meanings here, so let's keep them at the bottom. So it reminds me of one of my favorite trilogy of all time by Philip Pullman, his Dark Materials, and in one of the books, well, she's a protagonist of one of, let's say, more than one book. Serafina Pekkala, she's a witch. She is actually the mother witch, and she is the chief of a certain population of witches. And this is her transportation. Basically, she uses her demons. So demons are there. It's almost as if it were the embodiment or the incarnation of your soul, as if it were a companion that is always with you. And not just humans have demons, but also other species. And one important thing to notice is that the demon is your soul incarnated, and it represents you. And for Serafina, you know, her demon is I believe an albatross or a massive bird, one of those ones that go for thousands of miles without resting. And so she flies with, I believe she's called Cassia, but I'm not entirely sure because it's been a long time that I haven't read those books. I actually should pick them up, but I love this so much. But so I really, really love this Chariot card. But I don't want to keep it in this bag because this is one of the bags from one of my jewelry. I believe this one, this ring here from 150, as you can see. I love this ring so much. It's one of my favorite rings of all time because of the way in which the crystal, the color of the crystal changes when hit by a light in a different way. So I actually want to change the bag, and I am going to choose one, and I am probably going to choose this one, this color here, which I think that it complements the deck. So I'm choosing this one. This is the Mythic Tarot. I don't think I've ever shown this deck in my channel, and I've had it for such a long time. This is the original version with these backs. So if you're an expert, you will know about these backs. I am not an expert, but I did buy together with the book and also the cloth, the reading mat or cloth. I love this deck so much, but I remember really going against my own will when I decided not to trim it, because I don't like these borders, and I know that there's a lot of people that trim this deck, and it looks really lovely. It looks amazing when you trim it down to the artwork, which I may say it is so very easy to recognize. Oh, look at the star card. Isn't it just really lovely? So it wouldn't be a problem to even chop off the titles. I would still be able to recognize the cards. That's not a problem. However, I know that this deck is out of print. It's not necessarily difficult to find. Every now and then you can find it, but it's one of those decks that can either fetch like $30 because maybe it's in not good condition, or even $300 because it's in perfect condition with the box and the book and the reading mat and everything. So I just decided to keep it because mine is pristine. I don't have the box, unfortunately, but I do have the book, and as I said, and also the reading cloth. And I know that I would love it so much more if I could trim off the borders. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to. So this is going to be staying like this. and because I don't want to wrap it up in the reading cloth like I received it, wrapped it up in the reading cloth, which is the way in which they were actually sending it out back then, or at least an edition of them. But I will put it in this bag, which is really lovely, another bag by the Tarot Bag Ladies. Look at the kitty cat here. I just really love this bag so much. And yeah, so let's go on. That I don't show very often, and it might be because it's always been in a bag, because it came with a terrible box. This is the Oara Tarot, and I know that there's a lot of people that don't like this deck because it's a collaboration of different artists, and so you can actually tell, you see the differences in the art style, even in the choice of colors sometimes, and obviously also as a result of that in the vibes of the deck itself, of the cards. But I honestly really like it. This has always been one of the decks where I did not find myself agreeing with what the majority of TarotTube was saying. So many people saying, I feel that they're so different and I don't like it. I personally, I do feel that they're different. I do notice that. I don't pretend not to see that. However, I do feel like it still does a perfect job in showing me the cards, showing me what the intention of the creator, of the illustrator in that particular card was, and manifesting the energies that I need a card to manifest. For example, this 10 of Swords is magnificent. I love the way in which this whale is breaching and then some, breaching and jumping out of the water, and then just literally showing you that there is still movement even in the 10 of Swords, which feels like more often than not it's a card that doesn't give you any opportunity to shake it off, and this card does. So I actually really love it, and there's a lot of cards that I really like. And overall, I feel that, yes, of course, you can tell that there's differences in the creators. There's another whale here, love this one. Yes, there are differences, fair enough, but at the same time, look at how beautiful is this Devil card. Really gorgeous, isn't it? Very specific, very unique. At the same time, I feel that all of these artworks actually fall under the same type of vibes. So look at another whale, of course. This is the 10 of Wands, you know, and there's still that sense of movement, or the sense of shaking it off and saying, okay, I'm carrying a lot of burdens here, and many of them are not even my own to carry. But I finally saw that, and I'm humble enough to recognize that I need to stop and shake everything off, and then just go through them one by one and deciding which ones I actually need to carry. Really love this deck. I don't often show it, maybe because it was always in a very anonymous kind of bag, and I really want to do it justice, because this is one of the decks that I will never rehome, because I love it so much. I actually really do like it very much. And so look at this card, for example, and you know what, there's the Seed and Sickle Oracle published by Liminal 11 that pairs up absolutely magnificently with this deck. There's a card that reminds me a lot of that one in there, and I feel like it just it might be one of those combos that really enhances the power of both the decks, so I highly recommend it. This one came, that was a bit, how should I say this, it had been miscut, so the many cards were, let's say, out of size, you know, from the others, so I had to because I believe it came with silver gilding, I had to remove it, and I re-edged it, and I actually really like it with this kind of green color. I like it. So now I'm going to use it more often, because I will keep it in the same bag for now, but now I'll keep it in the same bag, but I will put the tag which means that I will not struggle when I want to find it. I will find it sooner than I did. Oh my god, another deck that it's not that I forgot that I had it, but I don't show this very often, do I? This is the Japarita Tarot. It is such an intense, oh my god, look at the 5 of Fire. It feels like it's a artistic Barbara Walker Tarot, like it's the told you so kind of deck, but at the same time it also is very artistic. I love this deck. It is one of those decks that is actually very, very accurate and scarily so. I mean, if you look at this Jester of Winds, the expression with the makeup, the expression on the face, it's kind of scary. Even this Moon card with the eye bulb and everything, and I know that there's a lot of us, me included, that have a thing for eye bulbs, so I don't linger too much on that card. Overall though, you know what, I'm gonna say something and everyone is gonna go, oh my god, what did you just say? I don't want to use this. I don't feel, whenever I want to do a reading, this deck never comes to mind. Not because I forgot that I had it, but because I just don't feel like using it. I like it. I know that it gives great readings. I wouldn't use it for a client or a member. I wouldn't use it for myself, and that's probably one of the reasons why I don't often feel like I want to use this deck. I mean, I want to look at the cards for sure. I mean, look at the Temperance card. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I'm not denying that. But it's just not really what I was used. I don't have a specific kind of question that I feel like, oh, the Japarita is going to be the tarot deck, and I'm going to choose to answer that question because the vibes correspond and everything. The Queen of Gardens is a gorgeous card as well. There's the Star card is just absolutely amazing. The Stranger of Gardens and the Stranger of Winds. But overall, I feel like it does have a bit of a disconnect between the cards. It might just be me. I think I trimmed it, obviously. Yeah, I trimmed it except for the bottom because I still needed the titles. But I trimmed it because it was really big. I didn't edge it though. I should edge it. Maybe if I edge it, maybe if I take some time with the deck, I will rediscover its power. But in any case, I'm happy that I'm going to tag it now, so it's going to be easier to find. Okay, this one is an experiment. As you can see, it's I'm going to change back. So it's the Oracle cards by Deborah Chaplin. Sorry, and she is an artist that uses touch painting, the technique of touch painting. These are two Oracle cards, let's say, the soul cards. And I just put them together, and I've written down, I've decided to put them together and to do a curated deck that amounts to a 78 cards tarot deck. So these are Oracle cards, but many of them, it was an experiment that many of us did a couple of years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago, I can't remember. And this is the result, and I have to say, this is incredible. It reads really, really well. This is the Queen of Wands, for example. This is the Four of Swords. This is the Two of Wands. This is the Ace of Wands, the Seven of Wands, the Ten of Wands. I mean, this one for the Ten of Wands is fantastic, isn't it? The Six of Wands, the Eight of Pentacles, for example. This one is the Hanged One, for example. The Page of Swords, the Two of Cups, the Two of Pentacles, the Three of Wands, so the Eight of Cups. So basically I just write 8 and C because I just remember it's Ace, C, 4 Cups. And I think that Knight, as opposed to King, obviously, of Wands, Seven of Cups, love this Seven of Cups. You know, the choosing yourself and not knowing what you're choosing, not being able to see it yourself because you're keeping your eye closed. So the Five of Pentacles, you know, being left out in the cold. The Nine of Pentacles, you know, your wish come true, your windfall. The Five of Swords, because you've been a victim of an unfair advantage, so you lost. The High Priestess, the Three of Swords, for example. It's the mind separated from the body because it's just floating around and being overwhelmed. So this works for me. This is the Magician. The Chariot, of course, the Ten of Pentacles. This works for me this way. I have watched, this one is the Tower, for example. It's a Tower moment. It works for me. It's the Four of Pentacles. Sorry, I keep on reading them. So I've seen a lot of tarot tubers doing this, and I've watched the result, and it's amazing because it's not the same. They didn't choose the same cards as I did. No one did. But some of them are very obvious. For example, this one is, for example, the Hierophant. But it's amazing because it works for us, you know, it works for each and every one of us. It just works really, really well. And so the Strength card, for example, you know, your mind is stronger than the fear of the snake. And the Hermit, I just love this card. Many chose this card as the Fool card, and I totally get it, but this to me is a Hermit because you're just isolating yourself and you're just looking up and trying to understand what's going on in your life. And the Nine of Cups. So it was a very interesting experiment. This is the Fool for me, you know, just jumping, having just legs. You have so many legs and you're jumping off the cliff, and you're hoping for the best, and I really love this. So the Ten of Swords, this is the Ten of Swords because you're just releasing all of these leaves, and it tells you that it's a moment to recognize that you hit rock bottom and just release everything to get back up again. So anyway, this is the Devil card for me, even though it's very strange, but at the same time, you know, it's got some positive way to look at the devil, as in recognize your shame and recognize that you're the only one that cares about how ashamed you feel about something, and that so you need to do something about that. And the Four of Cups, you know, just being completely overwhelmed, but also not deciding, not being able to decide, being completely stuck within your own feelings and having everything on offer and not liking anything. Just really, really, I love the way in which this deck now resonates with me so much. This is my Star card. I just absolutely love this. It's the sense of protection from the angels, from the my ancestors, the ones that are not my beloved, the ones that are not with me anymore. The Three of Cups, you know, is the three, and there's so many. This is the Six of Cups. So I don't know. I know that there's a lot of people who did that. This is what works best for me, but it is true that I don't necessarily use it a lot, but maybe now that I'm, you know, reminding myself of where I stored it, then I will. This is another bag that I bought from a local artisan and artist in Thailand with a maneki neko, a cat that brings good fortune, but with the Thai writing here. And I actually really like this bag. So inside I have one deck that I absolutely love, and I used to talk about this deck all the time, and then, you know, because time passes obviously and there's new decks coming in, but this one you will remember it, because if you've been following my channel for some time, you will remember how much I love this deck. This is the Tarot de Paysage Intérieur by Camille. Au Jardin des Clos. So if you want to contact her, I know that she's also released another deck. There was a problem with Etsy, I believe, at the time, and I couldn't buy it. But it was just as beautiful. I believe it's a majors only. I could be wrong. This one, this entire deck, and look at the Three of Swords. This is just perfect for me. I just really love this deck. There's so many beautiful ideas in here. Obviously Camille is an artist, so this is a very artistic kind of deck, and some cards may appear also a bit abstract, for example. So obviously, would I recommend this deck to a beginner? Yes and no. Obviously, I never say don't use this deck, or you should use the other deck, etc. If a deck resonates with you, even if you are a beginner and it's quite a complex deck, then go for it anyway, because you know what, at the end of the day, it needs to work for you because you're the reader. So if it doesn't work for you, it can be the most plain RWS clone you've ever seen, but if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And if this one does, on the other hand, then just by all means use it. I don't know whether this deck is still available though. It might not be. It might not be, or maybe it is. I don't know. I apologize for that. But it is still one of those decks that really is close to my heart. I just absolutely love it. And now I'm going to put a tag on it so I will know where to find it. This is a deck that I don't believe I've shown. This is the Falling Card Tarot by Jenny McLaughlin. And Jenny is actually Australian, so this is a deck from, I believe, from Adelaide. I could be wrong, but in any case, definitely Australian, or based in Australia. And this is a deck that I believe is underrated. I honestly actually like it very much. I feel that it's got a bit of mix of vibes, because many of these cards are kind of, please understand when I say creepy, I don't mean it in a negative way, but let's say unsettling instead of creepy. Characters on the cards, but at the same time, the fact that there are abstract vibes to the deck make it easier to relate to the cards. And so I relate to this deck as in a surrealist way. I would look at this deck in the same way that I look at all of my artistic, let's say, abstract or surrealist kind of decks. Other cards are very straightforward, like the Seven of Pentacles, as you can see. But the majority of them do feel like they have they live in their own space, let's put it this way. And I don't know, I feel that this deck is not very famous, it's not very popular, you don't really see it around. Look at the Ace of Swords, how beautiful this card is, for example. You don't see it around as much as I would like it to be seen, let's say. And it is probably, it's got to do, I believe, with let's say the image that you see on the front of this bag. Because I've heard a lot of people saying that this is one of the cards, it's the Falling card, representing the tarot. And I believe that there's a lot of people saying that this card puts them off. It's just one card that really puts them off, and they don't feel like using this deck or even buying it because of this card. I completely understand it. It's probably due to the eyes and the background. It feels like this person, it's a mask and doesn't have eyes. And, you know, I completely see the symbology behind that. But there's so many really beautiful cards on this deck that I probably, myself, I would have chosen a different card to represent the deck. Because I personally, and I could be completely wrong, and I apologize if I am, but personally, it doesn't feel like this this card or this image on the bag actually represents the deck itself. There would have been other images, and I think that it would have been easier to invite people to buy this deck had they seen maybe even this on the King of Swords, for example, or even the Two of Wands, or this one's with the Ace of Wands is absolutely gorgeous. And there's different, but as you can see, okay, so it is the Magician card, so it's very strong. It does come with a booklet, let's say, but as you can see, it doesn't really tell you much. So even for the major arcanas, it does give you a few keywords, which is always appreciated anyway. But in any case, because on the side, when you look at this from the side, you can't really tell. You need to look at the front of the bag in order to tell what deck it's inside. I'm just going to put the tag anyway. I just wanted to show you this bag, how beautiful it is. because it's got this color. This is the Osho Zen Tarot, of course, one of the many editions that I've got. But look at the inside, this Aboriginal theme, how beautiful it is. It's really, really cool. Okay, so it's an hour and a half later and I'm almost done. Actually, no, almost 2 hours, sorry, later. I'm almost done. I only have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 decks to go through. I have a headache and my back hurts and my neck hurts. But I feel like I've, after 40 decks, so I've done 30, 10 to go. I did what I had to do. It is so much better now. And I will show you the final results, so for sure. It's something that I should have done some time ago. This is an RWS deck that I bought in Turkey. And it's obviously got the titles in Turkish. But I like it. It's a very saturated version of the RWS. I'm sure that there's a name to this deck. It's clearly very saturated. The colors are very special. So as I was saying, last 10 decks, so I'll show you the final results. By the way, this one was a present from one of the tarot bag ladies, actually, because she knew that I was looking for this deck. This is the Feng Shui Tarot. I love this deck so much. And she didn't have the box, but she did send me this really beautiful bag that is actually made on purpose to host a smaller bag like this one for the cards, and then a larger one that would include the cards and the guidebook. And this is just absolutely amazing. I mean, the artwork in this deck, I know that it's very special, it's different, it doesn't necessarily read like an RWS. Although I can see here, I don't necessarily know this deck very well. I know that I wanted it for sure because of the aesthetics. But I also know that probably the minors read in a slightly different way, or, maybe there's a renaming here, Red Phoenix, for example, and then Green Dragon. So I feel like there's obviously associations related to mythical animals, but also to colors, which could be really interesting. The black tortoise. I just really, and I cannot wait to just have enough time and go through these cards. A white tiger, of course, that had to be a tiger. Such an amazing deck, really, really gorgeous. So I cannot wait, but I also know that this is a project that is going to take time. And for now, I'm just happy that I've got this deck, that it's been a really gorgeous gift and a very generous one. And I'm very happy that it's a very special bag because I can put the book and the cards together in the bag. So if you're looking for a larger kind of bag that you can do this with, then I would absolutely recommend getting in touch with the Tarot Bag Ladies, because they will definitely tell you, they will let you know what they can do. And this looks very stylish. As you can see, it's a very beautiful combination of colors and the fabric. So I'm 5 down, 5 to go. I'm kind of reaching a point in which I regret doing this, because I also know that this is just a drop in the ocean, because I also have all of the oracle decks, and if I do this for tarot, I'm also supposed to do this Feng Shui, sorry, let me just write it, tarot. I'm supposed to do this for all my oracle decks, or my Lenormand, which is a lot, many of them actually come in a bag, playing cards and stuff like that. And I'm not going to do it today because I'm honestly exhausted, and as I said, my back really hurts. It's probably because of moving in a certain way, or whatever tension that I might have. Which one is this one? This is the Hayworth Tarot. Let me just show you quickly because I love this deck so much. This is a quirky deck, but it's also very intense and very creepy, scary, disturbing. So if you're not into these kind of things, don't look at this, because it is gonna leave a very strong impression on you. But I just love it. It's just so unapologetically horror, and it's just really doesn't care about leaving you with a sense of being scared to death and not necessarily knowing what this is about. If you want to know what this is about, this is a tarot deck that has been created. The Hayworth, Jessica Hayworth created this deck, the Hayworth Tarot. But it is based on the Welcome to Night Vale podcast, which is a speculative, I would say, a horror adjacent speculative sort of sci-fi as well. And ironically, because some of these cards are not that easy to, let's say, to associate unless you are a fan of the podcast, it's not that easy to associate these cards with something either related to the card and the meaning of the card in tarot, or even the podcast itself. And so in order to help you out, there's a website that lets you, it's an open source website, so you can participate and you can download a spreadsheet from Excel and you can fill it in with what you think are the meaning of the cards. And this deck is always evolving with people logging in and just filling in a couple of more cards at a time. And I think that it's actually a fantastic experiment. I love this Nine of Wands, the way in which your task is consuming you and still you go on. Love it, love it, love it. This Justice card, for example, is you really need to know about the podcast, because otherwise you just look at it and you just really don't understand it. And the Knight of Swords. And I believe there's another card which I probably just gone through. It's the Strength card that is quite disturbing for a lot of people, I know that, but to me it's just really expressive, really excellent. I love this deck so much, really. I also love that, the colors, because it's almost pastel color. So this is the Strength card. As you can tell, it is one of those cards that can really leave like almost a bad taste in your mouth sometimes. But after you understand it, it's one of the cards that really changes your interpretation of that card in specific. And I love when a tarot deck is doing that. Love it so much. Anyway, so let me just go through all of the 4 remaining decks because I'm really exhausted. And I will show you the final results. I can't believe that we've reached the last one. I'm exhausted. Okay, so it's been 2 hours and 20 minutes. I'm really tired. But this is the last one, and it's really beautiful. I love the skulls, of course, and the snake in this deck, not in the bag, sorry. And obviously this is done for, custom made for the 7th edition, is it? 7th edition, the 7th edition of the Honasa House Tarot. This is one of my favorite editions of the Honasa House Tarot. Let me just quickly show you the deck because it is the last one and I feel like I probably need to take a break after this. It is one of my favorite editions. My favorite edition, my number 1, will always be the Jumbo. And it's basically because, it's so big, you can definitely see the cards really well. But as I always see whenever I stop at the Emperor card from the Honasa House Tarot is one of my favorite Emperor cards of all time, because it gives you this sense of melancholy and nostalgia, and there's this idea of the Goonies. For me, this is One Eye Willie, if you watch the movie The Goonies, because it reminds me of that sense of static, of the sense of stillness, of being in the depth of the ocean and being there for centuries, and then finally being rediscovered. And I like that because it shows us a different way to look at the Emperor, because this is not an active Emperor, this is not a Mars in Aries, Emperor. This is an Emperor that has done what they needed to do, and now it shows us what's gonna happen after he's put order back into chaos. Once his job is done, what happens to the Emperor? So I really like this, and I love this. There's so many cards that I absolutely love in this deck, and because of the combination of colors, this is my 2nd favorite edition. I don't have the 8th edition, and I kind of regret not buying it, because there's a reason why I didn't buy it. I would have. The reason why I didn't buy it was that at the beginning it looked like it was coming with borders, and I thought to myself, this is really cool. The colors are more like red, red based on red, and with borders I thought that it would look really interesting, and I don't have any edition, or that was in any case the first edition that would have been with white borders. But then there were problems at the printers, and Honasa said that she couldn't do it, and so she had to revert back to a borderless deck. And so at that point I wasn't that interested. I now regret it, and I know that it's out of print. I don't know what she's going to do, because she just released or sent out the Stunning Tarot, which I have, the 5th edition, which I have and I love. But maybe for the 9th edition of the Honasa House Tarot, maybe she will try again to get the borders in there. I really hope so, because it gives, I'm generally a borderless kind of person, but it just gives you the idea you have a different deck, and so I'm really curious about that. In any case, with all the solemnity, is that a word? With all the solemn vibe that I can muster, what I'm gonna do, I am literally going to put the deck back in the bag like this, and I'm going to close the bag, and then I'm going to write a tag with Honasa, what did I say, 7th edition? Yes. So Honasa House 7th edition. There you go, it fits. And I'm going to put the tag in here, which is not the safest place, and I'm thinking already when I'm going to open it this is going to come out, but for now I'm too tired to worry about that. So this is the last one, and I'm going to show you the final results. And voila, this is the results. So basically these are all the tarot decks that I've got in a bag, and as you can see they all fit in this upper shelf of the trolley that I've got. And I'm very happy to say that this looks amazing, because this you can already see from the tag which tarot these are. So I'm really happy, because I think it's actually gonna work. Maybe not so much for the ones in the middle, but I will have to pull their tags out like that so it's easier. But in any case, it's gonna be easier. Maybe I will put them all in a shelf. It doesn't really matter though, because I really wanted to show you all of them together in these bags, which are absolutely amazing. And that was it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!